Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be taking another look through a batch of vintage 1960s Penguin paperbacks. Now these are all from the very earliest years of the 1960s, 61, 62, and there's some fantastic titles in here which will be given a clean, a brush up, and basically getting them looking as good as possible. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so first one here is the Blue Chips. J Dice. This is a Penguin number 1631. And this, I believe, dates from 1961. Yeah, 1961. So quite an early one. And most of the books we'll see today will be from like 61, 62, I would imagine. This one actually is pretty nice nick. And I would imagine that the majority of the books we're going to see today, and in fact going forward, Penguin-wise at least, aren't going to be in too bad condition. There may be an odd one that I'm going to add to my upgrade list, but on the whole, these shouldn't be too bad. So we'll have a look through. Obviously, they're all going to need a brush along the top edges and what have you. And the odd one might need a repair or a price taking out. But looking at the piles I've got to come, they don't look too bad. But as you know, I do like a box at a time, and we're over halfway through the Penguin collection now. Obviously, a lot of it was the first 1,000. But it's certainly increased my... Look at that. Just come up there. It's certainly increased my wants list, shall we say, of upgrades. So even if I've got the book, if it's a bit on the tatty side, I will put it on my upgrade list. And that upgrade list, since I've been doing this video, has probably doubled in size, which has not helped matters. But the thing is, if I'm out and about and I look at a book and it's one that I've already got, but it is on the upgrade list, then I'll generally pick it up just to, keep the collection looking as nice as possible. I'm just putting a slide of glue there. This is actually the very end of this bit of Pritt stick, so I think I'm going to retire it. That is it. I've got a new roll here. I think we've probably got enough glue in that just to do that little bit, which we have. But yeah, I've got a new Pritt stick, so we shall use that going forward. Spinster. That looks like, yes, a movie tie-in. Shirley MacLaine, Lawrence Harvey, and Jack Hawkins. It's not one I actually remember. There is quite a good, I don't know if it's in this one, but there's that quite nice Penguin tie-in to the Misfits, which was a Marilyn Monroe film. That it might be in this little batch. Penguin Science Fiction. Now, this is a favourite of mine, Brian Aldiss. And this is a really nice... This is the reprint, 1961, and I do have, this will be the first printing, I would imagine. Is it 1960? Yeah, this is the first print, same year, 1961. But because it's science fiction, I do like, especially science fiction anthologies. I've got a couple of copies of it. There's 3 in total, and they did get republished in the 80s, I believe. It's all in one thing as a science fiction omnibus. So the first crime one today, 1639, The Best We Can Do, Sybil Bedford. Got a couple of names inside, but they're in pen, so nothing we can do about that. It's the best we can do. Now this one looks slightly out of position because it's a change of design. It's a Christmas at Candleship. It's the next number chronologically in my collection. It says that was 1639. This is 1642. So let's just check that it is actually a first printing. And it is from 1961. So a slight change in the design as the crime titles move over to this new format here. Doesn't list the designer or illustrator on the front. I wonder if it, on the back rather. I wonder if it did in the front there. Yeah, cover design John Sewell. So Penguin were actually very good at crediting their cover artists. This is one of a handful of Penguin Modern Classics. Now, the Penguin Modern Classics started around this time. In fact, this may even be one of the very earliest ones. Death of the Moth and Other Essays, Virginia Woolf. I really, really love the Penguin Modern Classics. I've grown to love them even more in the last sort of few years. I think they're just fantastic. And they've got a very, very distinctive look. And I love the way that the brand has evolved and still looks fantastic today, in all honesty. Limbo 90, 1647, Bernard Wolfe. Yeah, that one's all right. Here's a classic Lucky Jim. I remember reading this at school for my English O-level. I quite enjoyed it. I've read it since. It's actually a really good read. Now, in paperback, see, this is 1961. In paperback, first off, Lucky Jim was published by Foursquare, and they did his second book as well, called, I think, I Like It Here. And for some reason, maybe because he was considered far more literary, deserved to be a Penguin author rather than someone who had his books printed in Foursquare, he moved over, even though they were huge in Foursquare. Ian Jeffries, 13 Days. Now, a couple of things to bring you up to date on. So as I film this week, my other channel, my main channel, in fact, the one I first created back in March 2019, that is 5 years. It's 5 years this week since I created my other channel. And this channel here is not quite 2 years old yet. My dedicated cleaning channel. You are actually quite lucky to be getting a video this week because I've got the London Paperback show this weekend. I'm off to Dorset Bob's on Saturday. He's a book dealer, and I've had so much on. It's been a very, very busy week, but I've just managed to find a couple of hours this morning to get this one filmed, and hopefully I'll have it edited today as well, so it'll be ready for release on Saturday, because I know I try and keep at least one video a week going on this channel. I think I've only missed it once, so that's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. Patrick White, another modern classic. Look at that. Very, very interesting. The Tree of Man. Yeah, I sometimes have these little splurges where I try and catch up on my, have a go out and try and find a few modern classics. But generally, they just, if you're lucky, they just come my way, you know. Here's an author I like, Patrick Leigh Fermor. What a great, great author he was. Everything I've read of his, I've really, really enjoyed. This one's actually a slightly lower grade copy than I would perhaps like. I wouldn't mind a better copy of that one with the pen on the back as well. So I'm going to pop that on my upgrade list simply because ordinarily I'd let it slide. It's borderline. But 1661, Violins of Saint-Jacques, Patrick Leigh Fermor. It is a little bit lower grade and an author I really like. So I'm going to try and find a better one of that one. Fandango Rock, John Masters. I seem to remember, yeah, this is the one on bullfighting. I think it's a fairly common one. For some reason, I've had a few copies of this one sort of through my hands. Don't know why. Yeah, bullfighting. It's a funny subject. I like Hemingway's take on it, where he was fascinated but also equally disgusted in equal measures with bullfighting when he actually saw it firsthand. Here is that tie-in that I was on about. That's Marilyn Monroe with Clark Gable and Montgomery Clift. This is quite a collectible penguin. This is the British one, 1666. Got a bit of a yellow spine for my one, but collected by penguin collectors and collected by Marilyn Monroe fans, of course. Yeah, there we are. Penguin had a few like choice movie tie-ins. I think last time didn't we see Breakfast at Tiffany's? But that is a really, really nice one. That. Next up, D.H. Lawrence, apropos of Lady Chatterley's Lover and Other Essays. At this time, Penguin had just published Lady Chatterley, and there was loads of interest around D.H. Lawrence. So I think this is one of those ones that they sort of hurriedly pulled together, you know. So that's what that is really. It's cashing in a little bit on all the extra publicity that Lawrence was getting at the time. A Kind of Loving, Stan Barstow. This one is another one that I think is quite common. Jack Would Be a Gentleman, Gillian Freeman. Don't know much about this. Nice copy though. John Harvey, Within and Without. Another one that I don't know much about. John Sewell's doing these cover illustrations. The Hiding Place, Robert Shaw. Yeah, now this is, I looked this up, this is actually the actor Robert Shaw, if you can believe it, aka Quint from Jules. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? But, as well as being an actor back then, he was also an author. No, this is quite a book. How good it is, I don't know, but it's been published in Penguin, so how bad can it be, I wonder if there's an author photo. There we are. Recognisable as a young Quint. Yeah, it mentions his theatre work there at the time. But there he is. Born 1927. What a great actor he was, wasn't he? Really, really superb. Another classic book, really, This Sporting Life, David's story. This one does turn up quite a bit, and look at my copy, it's actually quite worn. So this is going on the upgrade list. So 1674, This Sporting Life by David Story. This has got wet at some point. So yeah, this definitely needs to be upgraded because it's a bit of a letdown. It's a great book though. I remember once again reading this in my early 20s and enjoying it. So that's one I will definitely pop on the upgrade. It's only 2 this time, which isn't too bad. The Teachers, G.W. Target. Okay. A High-Pitched Buzz. Roger Longridge. What's that cover artist? Quentin Blake, yeah, I thought it was. Just a little hint of it, but yeah, Quentin Blake jacket on that one. Very, very nice. He's still 19. This is 1962, this one, so we've moved on a year. Mr. Nicholas, Thomas Hind, 1677. So, as a general rule, Penguins pass like number 1000, but between 1000 and 3000, I do try and pick up, if the ones I haven't got, in as nice as condition as possible. Some of them, obviously, some of the crossword books and things, they're always going to be a little bit the worse for wear. But at the same time, I'm trying to be a bit picky because obviously I haven't got unlimited space. So I need to be quite picky with the condition of the books that I've got. And I could just prune the list and, just pull out all the beaten up ones and throw them, or, just sell them on. But I'd rather keep a book, even in low grade, until a better one came along. So this one, for example, this Simonum, it's been read a few times. It's got some spine wear. It's not in the greatest of condition, but it will do. It will definitely do. And if I do come across another one, I'll obviously compare and then I'll do a little upgrade. Maigret has scruples. Well, he may do, but not many, I wouldn't have thought. Edwin Taylor, very, very short little books. He's, 120 pages. I mean, he was certainly churning them out, wasn't he? Old Simonon, making a fortune as well. And Maigret and the Reluctant Witnesses. So some of these, I'm a little bit disappointed that they're not in tip-top condition. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. It's not like, I'm trying to get the best possible collection, but it's always nice to do a few upgrades, isn't it? Okay, The Good Companions, another one in the Penguin Modern Classics. Bit of a bigger book, so it's not in A1 condition. Tiny bit at the bottom of the spine is going to need just a hint of glue in there. It's a huge book, of course, but yeah, no markings inside. So I'm just going to slide. I got this new Pritt stick here. Just going to put a slither. There we are. That's much better on that bit there. Now, starting last week, I started filming these videos in 4K. So the picture should be a lot better. But also I am using a different microphone setup. Now, I have had only one bit of feedback so far, saying that they don't like the new sound. And, they watch these videos to sort of drift off to sleep, which is absolutely fine with me. But on the whole, the actual reception to the new sound and new video quality has been nothing short of positive. Everything's been really, really positive. They're loving the new quality. So for the time being, I'm going to carry on doing it as I am, filming in 4K, upload it in 4K, and use the new microphones in the hope that, on the majority of people do actually still like the videos. But if you don't, I do apologise. I'm sorry if it's ruined it. Plenty of old videos, of course, to go through if you prefer the older sound system. Right, Graham Greene here, The Lost Childhood and Other Essays, quite a later Greene from the period when they were publishing loads of his stuff. Very nice. John Ward did the cover of that one. Oh, great one here. George Orwell, Coming Up for Air. Not the greatest of jackets, this one. Slightly surreal. I suppose it's of its time. Now look at that. First Thus. So someone's got some... First Thus, 1962, £3. Well, fair enough. Well, we can get that out. It's funny, a lot of my favourite Orwells I've got multiple copies of because I like to read. I've got reading copies, and I do read Orwell quite a bit. I read 1 or 2 a year without fail. And this one, I see it a lot, but I'm surprised that I've not got a better one, and it's got a spine split down the bottom. So I'm going to make a little note to put this one on my upgrade list because it's the only copy I've got of this. Actually, no, it's not. I see I do have a reprint. I've just seen I've got a later one there. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. I don't collect Orwell in all the different editions, particularly in Penguin. There's just too many. I mean, most of his books have never ever been out of print, I don't think. So Penguin alone, something like 1984, I think there's over 50 editions in Penguin, different editions, since Penguin first published 1984. The edition I would like to get is the one that was published in actually 1984, but I haven't been able to track that down. I'm quite frustrated because I would imagine it sold loads that year. I remember Penguin publicising it vaguely as a kid. You know, as a teenager, I remember when 1984 came along, it was sort of used in quite a few places, wasn't it? And there was obviously the famous film, but I never got one which is dated 1984. Anyway, this is a later edition. This is a 60s one. They did a particular thing in the sort of the I think this is about 66, 67, let's just double check. Yeah, 67, where the logo got big in keeping with the rest of the brand, but they went to these really interesting photo jackets, which a lot of publishers did. And there's some George Orwells like this, with these weird covers. There's some by John Wyndham as well. And a few of my other more favourite authors who I wouldn't mind getting these like alternate later jackets, just a handful of them. As I said, I'm not trying to get every George Orwell cover, there's just too many. But some of my favourite ones, and the same with Wyndham, I wouldn't mind picking up the alternate covers because they're pretty funky and they're very much of their time, you know, and that does appeal. Look at that, it's in there as well. It does appeal. But yeah, if I wanted to read Coming Up for Air, I would probably read this reprint rather than the first edition. But that first edition's a bit worn, so if I can get a mint one, I'll keep that one as my reader as well, you know. Lovely stuff. And this is 1691, which was ever so slightly out of order. So this was slightly misfiled. So that one actually needs to go in there just before the Graham Greene. That's that one back in place. Then we've got another George Orwell. This is, I've only got the one copy of this, so... Oh, no, I haven't. I've actually got two. So keep the Aspidistra flying. Two slight variants on the jacket. So which one is a first? That's a reprint from 65. And this one, I'm guessing, is the first. Yeah, so let's go through the first edition initially. Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's a bit foxed and stuff, so I'll keep half an eye open for Orwell in first, these 60s ones, just to see if better ones come along. This is a very, very similar one, just a slight variant on the cover for this reprint. But it has got a little, that's a pen mark there. It's difficult to see what it was. It looks like 240 or something like that. It's also got someone's name impressed into it. So what you could get back in the day, rather than stick your name in, you could get a little press and it would imprint. Hopefully you can see it. It raises the print so you can see whose it was. And this was a Mr. R. Electoon in Amsterdam. So that's where this has come from. And you can just see on the back there, Hopefully you can see that it's been sort of pressed on. It's quite a nice way of doing it. It saves writing. If you really need to put your name in a book, that's one way of doing it. This is a great book. It's a homage to Catalonia. This is Orwell's experiences during the Spanish Civil War, and does come recommended again. This one, his entire life was just, really incredible. And Road to Wigan Pier, another one. So they published all of these in short order. He really was a very good author, and if you've never read him, I recommend it. Beautiful Penguin Classic editions nowadays that you can buy. Crime one now. 6 Great Advocates. Lord Burkitt. I think this might be true crime. Is it true crime? I think it is, like cases that came to court. I think. Back to 1961. So I said 61, 62 was sort of what we were looking at. Okay, next we've got 1706. Anthony Poole, What's Become of Waring. Poole, of course, was the author to Dance to the Music of Time, a great series, which 9 of the 12 were published in Penguin. The Vody, John Brain. Very nice. That's one of those ones with the photograph covers. The worse for wear. So some of this might come up when we do the polishing in a minute. Lost World of the Kalahari, Lawrence van der Post. If it doesn't, I'll put this on my upgrade list. 3p in pen. So I can't do much about that. But yeah, quite a bit worn, that one. So that's here on borrowed time. Unless we can tidy it up. This is quite a nice one, isn't it? Jamaica Inn, Daphne du Maurier. Penguin 1717. Very nice. The Scapegoat, another du Maurier. As expected, we haven't really had masses of repair work to do, but they certainly will benefit from a good brush. And here is the first part of Dance to the Music of Time, A Question of Upbringing. This is the first in the series of connected novels. This is just epic. I love it. I must have read it about 10 times. I love the entire series, and a lot of them, as you'll see, I've got doubles of them because I love them so much. So that's like my reader, and this would be my to keep copy. This is the hardest one to find in nice condition. The hardback of this is £1,000 book now in a dust wrapper, if not more. I do actually own a set of the first editions of these. I bought them a long time ago. I had a little bonus at work, and I treated myself to the set for £400, and it was the best 400 quid investment I've ever spent. Because there's 12 in the series. So here's the second one, A Buyer's Market. Basically, if you've never read it, it follows sort of 4 school friends with a few periphery characters through the 1920s and innocence and public school through to the Second World War, right up into the 60s and early 70s. It's mid-70s, but it's absolutely brilliant, and I heartily recommend it. And the central point is a painting called The Dance to the Music of Time. So yeah, a nice copy, my reading copy, basically. Acceptance World, which is number 3. Yeah, Osbert Lancaster did the cover for all of them. That's the first 3 that they did. Shot in the Dark, nothing to do with the Peter Sellers movie. David Garnett. C.P. Snow, Homecomings. Apparently this is an author that was very good, but you don't hear a lot about nowadays. But apparently he was excellent. That's a nice copy of that one. I seem to remember I bought a little C.P. Snow job lot, and there was quite a few in there. Bliss, Another Stories, another beautiful Penguin modern classic. Very nice indeed. Who's that cover artist? Is it Lancaster again? A Paul Hogarth. Yeah, that's it, Paul Hogarth. Look at that. Should have got that. Very, very nice. The Footsteps at the Lock. Ronald Knox. Lovely. Brothers-in-Law. Henry Cecil. Friends at Court. I think this was part of a little box. A little run where they did 4 or 5 even at the same time. That was the second one. It looks like it was. I've got 4 anyway. Much in Evidence. I seem to remember these all came out in a box set as well, which I don't have. Sadly, because I love Penguin box sets. Sober as a Judge. That's never been read by the look of it. Nice copy. Then we got a couple more here. Gidget. Frederick Comer. Don't know much about that. And the last one is a crime. It's Horace McCoy. No Pockets in a Shroud. (1962). Brilliant. Well, that's all the books that we've gone through. Now we've got to give them a brush and then we'll give them a final polish. Okay then, so we get the brushing done. I expect some of these will be worse than others, that's for certain. But we'll do the best we can. I shall try not to speak too much during the brushing process because I don't want to be eating it. One more pile to go. Just seen on this one, there's a tiny little top of the spine there is actually not, it needs re-gluing. Quite an easy fix, but I'd rather do it now than later. It's 2 ply, so it's 2 levels of paper here. There we go. Yeah, just the top of the spine had been nicked there, so a little running repair. Let's just do these last few. There we are. All right, so that's all the brushing done. Now time to do the polishing. Okay then, so clean bit of cloth. Mr. Sheen on standby. And let's give these books the once over. Well, as we've seen, a couple of them are far worse than others. So we'll just play it by ear with some of these. But a couple of them were quite bad. Most of them are only going to need a cursory wipe, I would think. But we'll get them as nice as possible. And although these penguins haven't actually got glossy covers, they're not matte either. They're sort of coated, if that makes sense. So they do have a layer on them, so you can quite safely put polish on without harming the book, as long as you don't overdo it. It takes a few sprays before the cloth gets fully sort of impregnated, as it were. I want a little stain on the back, which I'm just giving a bit of extra attention to. That's okay. That's science fiction now. Soft crime one here. It is a mucky old business as part of the job, but we don't mind too much, because ultimately when they're done, they do look really, really nice. So that is the whole point of doing it, isn't it? It's eating the polish today. But that's okay. This was quite a dirty one, this. A lot of muck on it. That seems to have cleaned it up quite nicely. Yeah, much better than what it was. I don't think any of these were too bad, except that one old one, which looked a bit like that, which we're going to have a little look at. It was like borderline, wasn't it? So yeah, if you're watching this on the Saturday, on the Sunday, I'll be at the London Paperback Show. Very much looking forward to that. I don't know if I'll find much. We just have to wait and see what's up there, really. But I always like to have a look at these sorts of things, and something like the London show is just amazing, really, and get to meet lots of other paperback fans of the channel. There's other YouTubers going to be there as well. It's really is going to be quite an event. So I know it's short notice, but if you are around on March the 24th, Sunday, at the Bloomsbury Holiday Inn in Coram Street in London, then that is where I shall be. In paperback heaven, you could call it. That's what it is. AKA paperback heaven. One of the Marilyn Monroe films I don't think I've seen is The Misfits. I think it's one of her later ones, actually, towards the tail end of her career. from what I understand. But yeah, these are cleaned up really nicely. As I said, they weren't massively dirty by any means. They weren't too bad, but they certainly look even better now, that's for certain. And they're all basically ready to be eventually bagged up, aren't they? Couple of upgrades to stick on the list as I go through and edit, but not too many. Robert Shaw now. Quite nice condition, this Robert Shaw, so I can't complain at that one. Yeah, this is definitely on the old upgrade list, this Sporting Life, bit of a beaten up copy, and it won't clean up any better than what it already is at, sadly. But I remember it's one of those ones I've had for a long time, probably a few decades, and I picked it up when I was a less experienced and less fussy collector, back in my early days of penguin hunting. A few May Greys. Always good. There's the second pile of 4, so we're about halfway through the cleaning at the moment, almost done. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. As I said, it's been super busy. I've had a few days away in Liverpool, like a mini break. It was fantastic. Visited a couple of Beatles museums, obviously visited some bookshops, and I've just yesterday launched a little video doing book shopping in the Liverpool area, which was good fun. So do have a look at that if you get a chance. And also visited the Penguin Book Specialist at Ironbridge. So once again, worth a little look at that video if you've not seen it already, because I love book shopping and filming what I find. Getting through the old Mr. Sheen today, aren't we? That's all right. As I said, I always think I should buy shares in Mr. Sheen. Or maybe, if anyone's watching this and they know anybody at Mr. Sheen HQ, maybe you could ask them if they'd like to sponsor a video by maybe sending me a case of Mr. Sheen. Because let's be honest, I've been a bit of an advocate for them all these years. It's probably a use they never ever thought about when they were creating it. Oh, they'd be useful to clean book jackets. So I think I've opened them up to a whole new world of possibilities of Mr. Sheen. So really, they should be thanking me, shouldn't they? Now, I've just had a look while I've been cleaning this one. That copy of Coming Up for Air. Still got a tiny bit of the spine that needs gluing back in. So I'm going to do that right now. There I was thinking it was just going to be a real simple day of fixes today. A nice simple clean. But it's just not. This was 2-ply, you see, so I've done the bottom bit, but that bit also needs to be stuck down as well. There we are. That's much better. But yeah, that's sorted it. Just can't get the staff, you know. Cannot get the staff. Lol. Right. This was a bit of a rough one, wasn't it? Right. Yeah, I very much enjoyed reading this one in this exact edition, the beautiful Penguin one. And I often wonder what he might have written if he'd lived a little bit longer. I mean, he really was. Even now, he's one of Britain's best ever authors, but if he'd have written even a few more, can you imagine? Just incredible, really. Still, I am pleased that I had just about had time to get this cleaning video done before the weekend, so I didn't want to have a week when we put nothing up, you know. And thankfully it was the turn of the Penguins, and these Penguin books now that we're cleaning are generally of a period which they don't require masses of work. They still require the attention, you know, that I give my other ones, but it's not like we're cleaning up books from the 1930s, which for some of them are so dusty, weren't they, you know. It is a shame. There was a big book auction yesterday, and I didn't win any lots, but all of that would have needed careful cleaning and attention, but I didn't win any anyway. The prices were just insane. So as you watch this on Saturday, yesterday, on my main channel, I've done a video on this particular book auction where you can see vintage paperbacks are red hot. I mean, absolutely mad, some of the prices that stuff's only going for. So, but maybe they're not. Maybe it's just a reflection of their rarity and their age nowadays, you know. But I, for one, was there was a few eye openers, let's put it that way. That's markedly better, isn't it, that one? I thought it probably would clean up quite nicely. The rest of these aren't too bad. This copy of Jamaica Inn's not ideal, but it is what it is. Right, last little pile here, and then we'll all be done. So all that remains for me to say is thanks very much for watching today. I hope you enjoy and appreciate the better quality picture and sound. I am definitely trying. I'm still experimenting though, so you know, I am prepared to make changes if things aren't quite right. But I feel after 5 years on YouTube, it was time to up my game a bit. And although I've always uploaded videos in 1080, more and more people these days are watching my videos on large screen 4K TVs. And the thought of that is quite something. In all honesty, it's like, well, not terrifying, but it's quite something. So because of that, it's made me think that I need to do slightly better videos, and it does in some cases help me zoom in and keep the quality. So yeah, hopefully it's just a change behind the scenes that isn't too dramatic. And once again with the sound, that is a bit more of an experiment at the moment, but we'll see. Shooting in 4K, not so big a problem, but the sound has always been a problem historically, to get it just right. So it's a work in progress. But anyway, thanks for watching today. If you want more of this sort of content, I do a monthly cleaning video on my main channel, which is definitely worth looking at, and there's bound to be other stuff there that you're interested in. I don't just do books, I do some other stuff as well. Visits out and about, some retro gaming stuff as well. So check the main channel out and subscribe over there to see everything, where I generally post videos about 3 times a week, which is quite the rate. Thanks as always to my Patreon and YouTube channel members. You can't join this channel as a YouTube channel member, but you can, if you want, join my main channel through YouTube, or you can just go to patreon.com Jules Burt and you'll find the link there. And I always release my sort of key stroke main videos about a week early. Sometimes you get 2 per week, depending on how ahead of the game I am. All right, so if you want to help support the channel, because YouTube revenue is really not great. It's very much a roller coaster, but it's not great. Ask any YouTuber that. You do rely on sort of these third-party ways to generate the revenue to make it all worthwhile. I mean, this is a labor of love. I absolutely do this. This channel makes very little money. It doesn't equate to the time that I put in to do the videos, but at the same time, it is something that I need to do. So I think if I'm going to be cleaning my books, I might as well film the whole process as well. So I'm sure you'll agree. nice, these Henry Cecils. Last couple. But yeah, thank you for watching today. If you've enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already for the weekly cleaning video. Well, I've still got books to clean and I have got still plenty more to do. We'll keep the videos coming. One video a week. And I shall very much look forward to seeing you next week. Not sure which video it is yet. It may be the turn of pans. I don't know. It may be a bagging video. I don't know. Possibly it's a bagging video. I shall have to have a look. But anyway, thanks for watching today. I'll see you again very soon. Bye.